It's a vision! It's a vision! Yes, that's right. You're having a vision of Don Bosco. Well, not really. But anyway, lovely artwork. So, visions, paper 3. The two kinds of visions. You have those in the Bible, so God's vision to Abraham and his vision to St. Paul. And then you've got non-biblical. We can think of St. Bernadette at Lourdes. Our Lady appears to St. Bernadette, and then also St. Joan of Arc. Now basically all the examiners want you to know with regard to visions is, do they prove that God exists? Some people are going to say yes, they do prove that God exists, because if the person is truthful, why wouldn't you believe what they've got to say? And it's it's an out-of-world experience. It's not a normal experience. It goes against the laws of nature. So you could say, yep, that proves that God exists, because it's not normal. I'm not normal, but anyway, visions are not normal. If the person's behavior has changed for the better, you could say, yes, it does prove visions are real and that God exists. I think St. Paul went around killing Christians until Jesus appears to him in a vision. And then St. Paul changes his behavior for the better and the killing stops. Then if you have someone who receives a vision and they're given a message and the message comes true, like St. Joan of Arc got a message, she was going to lead the French in battle against the English and get their land back for the French, and that came true, you could say yes, that vision was real. It proves then that God exists. No one else could know what was going to happen. And then lastly, you could say, look, we've looked at every other natural explanation. There is no explanation for the fact that you have had a vision, and maybe that proves that God exists, because there's no natural explanation for this. What do visions prove? What do they show about God? They prove that God is still active in the world, that God loves us and is communicating with us, that He's not abandoned us, that He wants to encourage our faith. If you get a vision, it kind of boosts your faith. Now you can guess what the atheists and humanists are going to say. They're going to say visions, they're just not happening at all. It doesn't prove that God exists, because maybe the person's mentally unstable, maybe they're lying, perhaps they're looking for attention. Maybe they're hallucinating, they're on drugs, they've had too much to drink, and therefore visions are not really happening, they're fake, and that means that God is not real. They don't prove anything because they are not real. You need to be able to show then, how do Catholics respond to atheist claims that visions are not true or are fake? Well, Catholics will respond and they'll say, visions are true and they do prove the existence of God, because one, we check the character of the person. If they're a compulsive liar, of course we're not going to believe them. But if they're truthful, then why should they lie about this? They'll get doctors, they'll get psychiatrists involved to check, has a person got a medical health issue that we should be aware of? Are they mentally unstable? If everything comes up negative and it looks as if this person is in full health, then you're more likely to believe that this person has had a vision, and therefore that proves God exists, because no one else can make you have a vision except me. There you go. What about if you are given a message in a vision that no one else could possibly have predicted, and that message comes true? That proves that the vision is real, and God must have given you that vision, because no one else knows the future. Perhaps if a person has changed dramatically for the better after the vision, you think, well, yeah, maybe God intervened in that person's life to help make them a better person, turn their life around so that they can be saved. And the church will also look to see, does the message in the vision fit with the teachings of Jesus? If it does, then it's more likely to be true. Your GCSE questions. You might get a GCSE question and it says, name 3 people who receive visions. You could say St. Paul, you could say St. Bernadette, you could say St. Joan of Arc. You could get a question which says, 5 marks, explain 2 reasons why Catholics believe visions prove that God exists. In your answer, you must refer to a source of wisdom and authority. 5 marks. Well, Catholics could say visions prove that God exists because they are not natural. It's not something humans can create, so only God could do that, therefore God exists. Maybe the person, as a result of a vision, changed for the better. Source of wisdom and authority, St. Paul, changed for the better after his vision from Jesus. You could get a question saying, explain 2 ways Catholics respond to non-religious arguments, atheist, non-religious, about religious experience. You could then outline it and say, atheists say there's always a natural explanation for visions. And Catholics would argue and say there aren't. Prove to us that there is a natural explanation. If you can't, then it must be from God. Atheists might say, well, maybe the person is lying or they're drunk. Catholics would respond to them and say, no, because we've had them checked out. We've had doctors, we've had psychiatrists check them out, and we know that they are not on drugs, they're not on drink, they're not lying. And therefore, visions prove that God exists. Okay, I hope your exam goes really well and that it's a vision of all the questions you ever wanted in an RE exam go and do well.